Imagine a world before the flood. Giants roam the earth. Angels share forbidden knowledge with mankind. And one man, Enoch, is chosen to record it all. For centuries his book vanished, hidden from the world. But when it resurfaced, it told a story unlike anything found in the Bible. This is that story. The Book of Enoch is one of the most mysterious ancient texts ever written. It is not part of the Bible, you know. It was rejected, banned, and buried for centuries. Yet, its pages reveal tales that stretch the imagination, of angels who crossed forbidden lines, of giants who consumed the earth, and of visions of the heavens that describe the very order of creation. In this video, we will explore what the Book of Enoch says, why it was hidden for so long, and how its prophecies could change the way we see history, faith, and the destiny of mankind. Enoch is one of the most mysterious figures in all of ancient writings. He appears only briefly in the Bible, but those short lines carry enormous weight. In the book of Genesis it says, "Enoch walked with God, and then he was no more, because God took him." Unlike other patriarchs, Enoch did not die. He was taken directly into heaven. This single statement made Enoch unique, a man who bridged earth and the divine. But here's where it gets even more fascinating. The Bible tells us almost nothing else about him. No details of his life, no stories of his journey. Just a name, a number of years lived, and a mystery. Why did God take him alive into the heavens? That silence left room for imagination, and over centuries, ancient writers filled in the gaps. They claimed that before Enoch was taken, he wrote down visions and teachings he received from God. These writings became what we now call the Book of Enoch. So, who exactly was Enoch in this tradition? According to legend, he was not just a man, but a chosen messenger. He was a scribe of heaven, given access to knowledge no other human was allowed to see. In the book, Enoch describes journeys through multiple heavens. He meets angelic beings, witnesses the throne of God, and sees secrets of creation itself. But perhaps the most shocking part of the Book of Enoch is what it says about the angels who fell. Enoch records that a group of angels called the Watchers were sent to watch over humanity. Instead, they rebelled. They came down to earth, took human wives, and gave birth to the Nephilim, giants of terrifying strength. These giants began to destroy the earth, consuming its resources and even threatening mankind itself. The Watchers also shared forbidden knowledge with humans. They taught the use of metals to make weapons, the reading of the stars to tell the future, and even sorcery and enchantments. These secrets, meant only for the heavens, were now in human hands. Enoch writes that this angered God, who sent him as a messenger to the fallen angels. Imagine this, a single man, chosen to confront beings of immense power, delivering God's judgment. According to the book, Enoch told them they would be bound, cast into darkness, and their children, the giants, would be wiped from the earth in a great flood. This is the role of Enoch in the story, the bridge between God and angels, the prophet who saw both the glory of heaven and the corruption of the earth. And it is this role that makes his book so dangerous, so mysterious, and perhaps so feared. Because if the Book of Enoch is true, it does more than tell a story. It suggests that human history was shaped not only by men and kings, but by beings from the heavens, angels who broke the rules and a man who dared to record it all. The Book of Enoch introduces us to a group of angels unlike any others, the Watchers. Their task was simple: to observe humanity, to guide them, and to watch over creation. But in Enoch's telling, these beings made a choice that would forever alter the world. The leader of the Watchers was named Semjaza. He and a group of 200 angels looked down from the heavens and saw the beauty of human women. Desire overtook them, and they swore an oath together. They would descend to earth, take wives for themselves, and share in human life. But this was no ordinary union. From this forbidden act came beings of immense size and strength, the Nephilim, giants born of heaven and earth who towered over mankind. At first, they may have seemed like marvels, but soon they became a curse. The Book of Enoch describes the Nephilim as devourers of all things. They consumed the harvests of men, the herds of animals, and when nothing was left, they turned against the people themselves. Humanity was trapped in fear, unable to stand against these giants. But the corruption went deeper than giants. The Watchers also shared secrets that humanity was never meant to know. They taught the art of war, how to forge swords and spears from metal. They revealed the movements of the stars and how to read them for omens. They opened the doors to enchantments, charms, and forbidden magic. What began as knowledge became destruction, twisting human life into chaos. Enoch writes that this was the moment when the balance of the world tipped. Violence filled the earth. Blood was spilled without end. The cries of humanity rose up to the heavens, and God heard them. In the Book of Enoch, God responds with judgment. He calls upon the archangels, Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, and Uriel, to act. Their mission, to strike down the Watchers and their offspring. But before their punishment was carried out, one man was chosen to deliver a message. That man was Enoch. Imagine this scene. Enoch, a mortal, standing before a host of fallen angels, delivering the verdict of heaven. He tells them that they will not find forgiveness. They will be bound in darkness, chained until the final judgment. Their children, the Nephilim, will perish in a flood that will sweep the earth clean. This was not just the end of a story, it was the end of an age. In Enoch's telling, the flood of Noah was not only about human sin, but also about cleansing the earth of these half-divine, half-human giants. It was a reset, a way to restore balance to creation. Think about what this means. The Book of Enoch suggests that behind the familiar story of the flood lies a hidden war. Angels breaking the laws of heaven, giants consuming the world, and one man chosen to announce the destruction of it all. This tale of the Watchers and the Nephilim has fascinated scholars, mystics, and storytellers for centuries. Some see it as pure myth. Others wonder if it contains fragments of a forgotten history, a memory of something humanity once witnessed but later buried in legend. And yet, the story does not end here. Because the Book of Enoch goes further. It doesn't just describe giants and angels. It claims to reveal the very secrets of the universe, visions of the heavens, the cycles of the sun and moon, and even the final judgment of mankind. The Book of Enoch does more than tell the story of angels and giants. It opens a window into the hidden structure of the universe. Enoch is taken on a journey through the heavens. He describes passing through multiple layers, each filled with wonders and terrors. In one vision, he sees the great throne of God, surrounded by fiery angels who never rest, their voices shaking the skies. He is shown treasures of light, the storehouses of wind and rain, and the boundaries that keep the stars in their places. But perhaps the most striking part is what Enoch learns about time itself. The book lays out a calendar of the sun, moon, and stars, a system different from what we know today. Some scholars believe it was an attempt to record an advanced form of astronomy hidden in symbolic language. Enoch is also given visions of the future. He sees a great judgment where the righteous will be saved, and the wicked, both men and angels, will face destruction. He speaks of a chosen figure, sometimes called the Son of Man, who will rule with justice and bring an end to corruption. For many readers, this sounds like a prophecy of a messianic figure who would appear long after Enoch's time. It's these prophecies that made the Book of Enoch so powerful and so dangerous. To its supporters, it offered hope that evil would not last forever. To its critics, it contained visions too bold, too strange, and too threatening to fit within accepted scripture. That's why the book vanished for so long, hidden away, preserved only in remote corners of the world, until it resurfaced centuries later in Ethiopia and among the Dead Sea Scrolls. And yet, even now, it leaves us with more questions than answers. Because if Enoch's visions are true, they suggest that the universe is not just a stage for human history, it is part of a much larger drama, one that began before the flood and still waits for its final act. The Book of Enoch raises a question that lingers even today. Why was it left out of the Bible? In the early centuries of Judaism and Christianity, debates raged over which writings should be considered sacred. Some texts were accepted, others were rejected, and Enoch stood in the middle, loved by some, feared by others. For a time, the book was respected. The Jewish sect at Qumran, who preserved the Dead Sea Scrolls, clearly valued it, copying its verses and keeping it alongside the law and the prophets. In the 1st century, the New Testament writer of the Epistle of Jude even quoted Enoch word for word, showing that it was known among early Christians. But not everyone agreed. By the 4th century, church councils began forming the Bible as we know it today. And when they reviewed Enoch, they found too much that didn't fit. The tales of angels marrying humans, of giants ruling the earth, of cosmic secrets and hidden prophecies, these ideas were too strange, too mystical, too controversial. To many leaders, the book was dangerous. It gave power to visions and teachings that clashed with official doctrine. And so the Book of Enoch was left out, declared non-canonical, and pushed into obscurity. Yet, it didn't vanish completely. In Ethiopia, the Orthodox Church preserved it as scripture. For centuries, the Ge'ez language version was read and copied, keeping Enoch alive when the rest of the world had forgotten him. Then, in the 18th century, European explorers rediscovered the text in Ethiopia and brought it back to the West. Suddenly, scholars and theologians had to face it again. What was this book that had influenced the Bible, that had been quoted by apostles and yet had been erased from history? Today, the Book of Enoch continues to spark debate. Some see it as a key to unlocking ancient mysteries, a window into forgotten beliefs about angels, the universe, and the destiny of mankind. Others dismiss it as myth, a collection of wild visions with no place in serious faith or history. But perhaps the truth lies somewhere in between. Maybe Enoch's book was never meant to be history in the way we understand it. Maybe it was a vision, a symbolic story meant to explain why the world is filled with both order and chaos, light and darkness. And this leads us to a bigger question, one that echoes across time. Was the Book of Enoch banned because it was too strange? Or because it was too true? If the Watchers, the Nephilim, and the secrets of heaven were real, then our history is far more complex than we've ever been told. If not, then why did so many ancient communities treat Enoch's words with such reverence? That mystery remains unsolved. And now, it's your turn. What do you think? Was the Book of Enoch a forgotten truth, erased from history, or just a myth that grew too powerful to ignore? Leave your answer in the comments.